Greetings and salutations. Exam season is pretty much underway now. Some of you may have even sat some already. GCSEs, A-levels, SATs. During this period, it's so easy to just sacrifice things that you're not really supposed to be sacrificing, such as exercise, eating healthily, and these things will contribute to you acing your exams. With me, especially last year when I was doing my A-level exams, I completely let myself go. I stopped exercising. I was comfort eating a lot, just snacking during my revision sessions, eating a lot of junk food, and I added a lot of weight in such a short period of time because all I cared about was just, studying, revision, doing well in my exams. And when you actually think about it, that's really counterproductive because not exercising, not eating healthily, doing that is going to take away from your focus because eating unhealthily, that's gonna cloud your brain. Same with not exercising. So in this video, I'm gonna give you a couple tips on how to actually ace your exams. The things that your teachers won't tell you, things that people don't really talk about. So as I mentioned already, you've got to try and still do a bit of exercise even with all the hours of revision that you're doing. It doesn't even have to be tons of exercise, obviously, because you still want to focus on your studying. But maybe if you do the Pomodoro technique and you do, 25 minutes on, 25 minutes off, in your 5 minutes you can just do a couple push-ups right next to your table where you're studying. Or you can go for a walk, go for a quick jog, 5-10 minute jog. It doesn't have to be, in the gym day in, day out, because that's really unrealistic during exam season. But just make sure you're still being a bit active, because when you're just sedentary, sitting down at your desk for 10 hours a day just studying, it's really just not good for you. You've got to make sure you're still being active, because exercise even enables you to focus better on your studies, and that will contribute to you doing better in your exams. You can study all of your syllabus and know all the information and everything, but if you can't focus in that 2-hour exam you have, you're gonna fail. I'd recommend you still try and do some form of physical activity just to keep yourself going, and it releases dopamine when you exercise that makes you feel happy, so it also takes away from the stress of exam season and doing all of this studying, comfort eating, snacking, eating a bunch of junk food. It's so easy to have some snacks next to you while you're studying and just consume all of them, and before you know it, you've added on a bunch of weight and you're wondering where it all came from. And aside from that, if you really want to ace your exams, like I said before, you need to have a clear mind. And all of the chocolates, sweets, biscuits, all of that kind of stuff, again, it prevents you from having that mental clarity. It kind of fuzzes everything in your brain, and that hinders your study and that hinders your revisions, which will ultimately hinder your progress during your exams. You've been told this a million times. You need to be consuming the fruits, the vegetables, all of that healthy stuff, because it's really good for your brain. You've definitely had a time where you're in an exam and you see a question, something that is something that you've studied, but you just don't know what to write. You can't think, and then you start panicking, you start stressing, and then your body gets all hot, and then you're just angry with yourself, like, think brain, just think. Has that happened to you before? Well, junk food does play a part in that, because it just takes away from your mental clarity. Your brain isn't able to process things at its optimum level. So yeah, I'd recommend you try to stay away from this, especially during exam period. I mean, it's not going anywhere. Snack all you want after exams are done. This is a big one, because I know most of you are absolutely sacrificing this right now, and that is your sleep. I mean, it makes sense, right? When you have exams, you want to cram to the very last minute, get as much studying done near to the exam. You're going to remember it, right? Well, not quite. If you're getting only 4 or 5 hours of sleep, especially on the night before an exam, it's one of the worst things you can do, trust me. You really want to get at least 7 to 8 hours, especially during exam season, because for starters, you just don't want to be feeling drowsy during an exam. It's just the worst thing. Again, you can't think, you can't process anything, you're dozing off. You want to be sharp, focused when you've got an exam, writing. And a lot of that comes from sleeping well. I definitely sacrificed this last year during my A-levels. It's not even just about the focus, it's also about the retention of all the information that you've been learning. During your sleep is when your brain takes all of that content, that stuff you've been revising, puts it into your long-term memory. So if you want to remember what you've been learning, in order to be able to apply that to the exams, you've got to remember it, right? So that comes with a good night's sleep. If you're cramming one night and you sleep for 4 hours, most of the stuff you crammed is going to go right out of your brain anyways. You won't even remember it. So what was the point? It's really counterproductive. So you want to make sure you get a good night's sleep. And yeah, that is how you ace your exams. Obviously, you know, you've got to revise and stuff, but that goes without saying, right? These tips are more so to relieve yourself of the stress of exam season, and also just to ensure that you are at your optimum focus levels, so that when you go into that exam hall, you are in tip-top shape, your brain's clear, and you're actually able to apply all the knowledge that you've been studying for 1, 2, 3 years, put it all into that paper and smash those exams. Absolutely smash them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!